falls short. They lose after a horrible third quarter. They found themselves down 23 at the beginning of the fourth. They go on a 31-8 run to tie it up. Exciting fourth quarter, but James, in the end, they fall to the Brooklyn Nets, who are also shorthanded, missing KD, Kyrie, a bunch of guys, 6 guys in the health and safety protocols. Their last 3 games have been postponed, so the Nets got the dub.
Yeah, it was a huge win for Brooklyn on the road without main players. Coming into Los Angeles on Christmas Day, and they do have the best road record in the NBA. There's a reason for that. Regardless of who's on the floor, they just played scrappy. And Patty Mills, Claxton, those guys, they came to play.
Yeah.
The Lakers, this was one of the better games for me to watch, minus that third quarter. They were down 23, and they showed some fight. I thought Johnson coming on really gave them an injection on the defensive end. Monk. So it was just the turnovers and the lack of execution. I mean, Mills and Harden, they really closed it out for them. But it's tough loss at home.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I felt like they played harder, and they played with some excitement and some energy. Third quarter just got away from them.
Yeah, if you extrapolate that fourth quarter throughout the entire game, Lakers win going away. There's no doubt about it. Unfortunately, it took them a while to discover that defense.
Yeah.
Don't forget, James, they allowed 38 in that first quarter, so that kind of put them in a hole. So they actually had a couple comebacks in this game. How close can an NBA game be? Okay, I go back to August for this, all right? The Lakers interested in Patty Mills as a free agent. He did not sign with him. He went with Brooklyn instead. Lakers counter within an hour by signing Kendrick Nunn, okay? Kendrick Nunn, we still haven't seen him this season. Patty Mills, we saw too much of him tonight, guys. A career-high tying night for him, a ton of assists as well. To me, James Harden coming back after a 2-week absence because of COVID-19 protocols, he did James Harden stuff. But Patty Mills, to me, the difference maker in this game. Keith.
Yeah, let's credit both of them. James Harden, 36. Patty Mills, as you mentioned, ties a career high with 34. They combined for 70. Patty Mills, so good down the stretch, 8 threes. 2 of those were absolute daggers when the Lakers were having that crazy comeback. James Harden missed 15 days. Hadn't played in over 2 weeks. Came back. He was remarkable. And as Brez mentioned, Patty Mills, a guy that was high on everyone's list. It showed tonight. Why?
Yeah, because he's a proven veteran. Ever since he was in San Antonio, he's played, international, in the international games, and he's just solid. He's smart. He knows where to be. You cannot leave him. I think the Lakers made a big mistake by leaving him to go help. You got to stay at home on him.
The one in the corner.
Yes, for sure, the one on the corner. And so he's just a solid player. He always steps up when needed. He's done it everywhere he's been. He's a smart player, not afraid to play against anybody, and it showed up tonight when they really needed him on the road.
James, when you look at that third quarter, and I agree with you, the fourth quarter was great, the effort, that fight, but in the third quarter, it was the complete opposite for this team, and that's where I look. I mean, the Lakers were up 70-68, 10 minutes left in that third, and it's a 34-12 run, and it's basket after basket, turnovers, easy buckets, and the fight wasn't there. And I think that's been the complaint with this team, Brez and James. The consistency has not been there.
Yeah.
Second quarter, fourth quarter, it's there.
Great. Again, after these, they have trouble starting sometimes this season. Starting the first quarter, starting these third quarters. They've been better in the third quarter. Okay, that was kind of an early season issue for them. I think you have to talk about the defense as a whole.
Yeah.
Another game, they're giving up too much. 122 points to a team that did not have KD, who's probably 1 or 2 in the MVP race right now. Other players, they didn't have their young first-round pick, Cam Thomas, who's been playing better lately. LaMarcus Aldridge having a nice bounce-back season, out tonight. So people say, well, the Lakers are shorthanded. Brooklyn was really shorthanded, still hung too many points on the Lakers. The Lakers haven't lost 5 in a row since March of 2019. All 5 games are allowing a lot of points, guys.
5-game losing streak. It's the first time since March of 2019.
Yep.
During this losing streak, they're giving up on average over 120 points
Too much
per game.
There you go.
And James, that at the end of the day, we know the circumstances. We know what they've gone through. The whole league is. You still have LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and whoever else you're going to run out there. I know wins are hard to come by, but they're in a bad way right now, and you got to look at the defensive end. And that's an area where they got better, definitely. But when you lose key guys, you try to figure it out. But right now, giving up over 120, it's hard to win.
Yeah, you're not going to win many basketball games. And the thing that I'm afraid of is that teams now know that they can score on the Lakers. You know, they're watching the same video that we're watching. They see the areas where the Lakers are weak. And, you know, it's like you can suffer defensively a little bit if you got an effort and you're focused. It's going to happen. Teams are going to score. But when you completely go zero mentally, defensively, that's when they're able to pour on, you know, 15, 16, 17 points when there's absolutely nothing going on and there's no continuity, and you're giving up, you know, layups, dunks, offensive rebounds, wide open shots. They picked it up in the fourth a little bit, and you could tell mentally they were in it defensively, and things changed. But they got to stop having these huge quarters of defensive lapses.
Listen, Frank Vogel and his staff and Fizz tonight, they schemed defensively with the best of them. He said something interesting in that post-game show the other night about, you know, it's a complicated defense for them to learn when you have new guys coming in and out, and you can tell when they are connected, and you can tell when just the effort is there, James, how much better they are during those stretches. So I think that's what's a little bit frustrating sometimes, Brez, is you're just not seeing that connection and that effort at all times.
That's the thing. Okay, Anthony Davis gone, maybe till February or at least late January. Okay, that's a huge, huge piece of this defense. But you still have guys out there who should be able to D up, okay? And we're just not seeing it. You know, LeBron and Russ, I think they have to set the example to be the guys who say, we're going to think defense. Now, offense, you know, LeBron, another good game. Russ, triple-double, a little deceptive. He was 4 for 20 shooting tonight. But I think the big two, James, the remaining two, so to speak, while Anthony Davis sits on the sidelines, those guys have to set the tempo defensively the rest of this pause without AD.
I want to jump in and say one thing. There's one positive that I'm taking out of this.
Okay.
His name is Stanley Johnson. He was signed yesterday.
Yeah.
You heard Van Gundy, you heard Mark Jackson, you heard them talking about him. Guys, his energy was infectious. And James, all he was doing was D'ing up. And listen, he had one job to do, but man, he did it well. He tried to stay in front of guys. He was physical. Sure. He knew his assignments. He just played team and individual defense, and he played it at a high level. Gotta give him props,
you know,
man.
Despite Harden's the way he played, I thought he did a pretty good job on Harden, fighting over picks, standing in front of him, just mentally focused, and you could tell that he was in every play. I really like this effort. I do think he injected something in this team early in the game. His defense kind of was contagious. It got away from him, obviously, like you said, Brett. They didn't do well in the first quarter. And then they had to really fight back in the fourth. But I thought Stanley Johnson had a nice show tonight. And if they can, you know, collectively come in with that kind of mental focus defensively on a string together, that's what they've been needing. I thought Monk also, energy was there tonight as well. But Stanley Johnson, man, that's the kind of defense that the Lakers played the last couple seasons when they were one in the league. They need to get back to that. Forget about the offense. Let the defense dictate. And I thought he really played Laker defense tonight. We hadn't seen that in a while.
Malik Monk missed 5 games.
Yeah.
They missed him.
Yeah,
sorry, you want to talk Stanley real quick?
No, real quickly. Guys are still kind of auditioning for jobs right now.
Sure.
Here we are on Christmas Day. You got 3 guys on these 10-day exception contracts. No Isaiah Thomas tonight, guys. So maybe, I don't know if he's going to be back for the second 10-day, because you can do that. You can sign guys to back-to-back 10 days. Stanley Johnson, 8th pick. 2015 draft, you know, out of Arizona. Couple, non-eventful years in Detroit. Bounced around a little bit after that. But indeed, he was kind of a spark plug defensively for them tonight.
All right, well, let's get you to the highlights, guys. First game at Crypto.com Arena. Wow. It's Nets versus Lakers on Christmas.